misery truly loves company. Misery truly loves company. I'm 30 years old. I witnessed something last year that I thought I would never witness in my entire life. That's the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl. So with that being said, I'm not going to let one disappointing injury-plagued season deter me from the colors that I wear. It's not going to make me upset. It's not going to make me feel that bad. Now, call me crazy. There's still a handful of teams that feel like we can still win this division, that we can still win this thing out. There's still a handful of teams that believe, a handful of guys like myself that still believe that. Not so much the win out thing, but so much that we can win this division because other teams play other teams. We still control our destiny. In a sense, we still have to play the first place Redskins twice. We still have to play the Dallas Cowboys one more time, and we got the New York Giants coming up. Now, it's safe to say that if you lose to the New York Giants this coming Sunday, that the season could be over. It's safe to say that if you lose to the New York Giants. With that being said, this is the keys to victory to defeating the New York Giants. Now, I think the only thing that matters, how we can beat the Giants, is that we just pressure and rattle Eli's cage as much as possible. That's the only thing we can do. We have no cornerbacks. It takes 5 people to bring down Saquon Barkley. Our cornerbacks don't tackle well, even when they were in the game. If you would have had Rodney McLeod and Jalen Mills, that would have been a different ball game from tackling on the back end. Malcolm Jenkins also can tackle, but a lot of our guys don't tackle well right now that we have in the game. If it ain't an ACL, it's an MCL. A lot of people are hurt. We haven't had an offensive line intact all season. Darren Sproles has played 1 game. Our deep threat, Mike Wallace, 2 games. Carson Wentz just coming back from a knee injury, didn't play the first 2 games. Alshon Jeffries didn't play the first 3 games. You got to look at where we're at injury-wise as well. But still, that's not an excuse because I believe that we performed good enough to win most of our games except the Saints game. Now, the Saints game, that was a bloodbath. We were totally outnumbered. That team is rolling. That team is 100% healthy. That team is intact. That was a bloodbath. Now, just to piggyback off bloodbaths, we gave the Giants a bloodbath, but we were healthier last time we did that. So if we get the pressure on Eli Manning that I think we can get, because that offensive line isn't that great, but they're working out ways to get the ball out of Eli Manning's hand and into Odell Beckham's hand. So if we can constantly get pressure on Eli Manning and just play our game, this game is at home, we should come out of this game victorious. Now, misery loves company. What do I mean by that? You got a handful of teams, like you got the Cowboys fan base, you have pretty much just the Cowboys fan base, the NFC East, all of the NFC East. Being as though we're the defending Super Bowl champions, it would bring them great joy that we don't make it to the postseason again, which is totally understandable. But at the end of the day, who from the NFC East is going to win a Super Bowl? Who? Nobody. Nobody from the NFC East is going to win a Super Bowl. So at the end of the day, you're rooting for your demise as well, because the way it's looking, that if anybody from the NFC East, in my opinion, I feel like if the Eagles can get to the playoffs, the Eagles can do some damage. We have that type of spirit. We have that type of team. If somebody else from the NFC East goes to the playoffs, if they win a division, there'll be a human sacrifice. They will be a doormat for whoever they play in the first round. They will be a sacrifice. The Redskins don't have a starting quarterback anymore. Dallas is just Dallas. It's inevitable. It's inevitable that Dallas will crash and burn. It's inevitable. Yeah, it looks good right now. Yeah, they won 2 in a row. The Giants also won 2 in a row. We lost 2 in a row, but the end result will be the same. The end result will be the same. Nobody's winning the Super Bowl out of NFC East. So being so happy that you won't ultimately reach the goal that you think you want to reach every year, it makes no sense. And this is coming from a guy who has had many disappointing seasons. So this one, you think the one after we win the Super Bowl is going to rattle me? After? No, it's not going to rattle me. This was a challenge for the front office from the beginning. This is a first for us. This is a first on how to keep key personnel after you win it all. This was a challenge. This was a first for us. So it's not like something that we're accustomed to. Let's be real about that. Yeah, we got our Super Bowl, but, you know, we didn't keep the right guys, in my opinion. We didn't keep the right guys. Should have kept Blunt, should have kept P. Rod. We didn't keep the right guys. And that's what I've been saying all along. But at the end of the day, it's still not over. It's still not over. Do I believe we'll beat the Giants? Absolutely, I believe we'll beat the Giants. I believe we can beat the Giants. Even though they've won 2 in a row, we absolutely can beat the Giants. So I'm not really even worried about the Giants game like that. You know, the keys to victory are simple. Pressure on Eli Manning. He's a fossil. He's out the door probably next year anyway. Let's hurry him out the door. Now, at this point at the season, at this rate, you know, if we were to win out, what would we be, 10-6? It's not impossible, but it's very unlikely that you win out because you still have the Rams, who are still playing good ball. You still have the Texans, who are not a bad team. And then you have the rest of your division games. I mean, I think we can win the rest of these division games. I absolutely believe we can win the rest of these division games. We have no cornerbacks. I believe people will attack that moving forward. I believe I mean, the offense is very stagnant. So it's just not the cornerbacks. It's the scripted plays that are being ran in the beginning of the game. It's now, I seen the frustration in Carson Wentz in that last game. Carson Wentz just felt like that the only option was to throw it up and give receivers a chance, which is the wrong answer. I mean, at the minimum, don't turn the ball over. You know what I'm saying? At the minimum, turning the ball over is the wrong thing to do. Don't force anything. Don't press anything. But it has to be frustrating with the talent that we have to only be averaging 20 points a game, to only have hit 30 points one time this year. It has to be frustrating for a quarterback as talented as Carson Wentz, for wide receivers as talented as Golden Tate and Alshon Jeffrey, for probably the best tight end in the game this year, for him to have a career year for the season to end like this has to be frustrating. So I understand that pain. I understand it. Misery loves company, man. These guys are going to get joy. These other content creators, these other fan bases, they're going to get joy out of seeing us not win when in all actuality they're not going to win either. You know what I mean? They're not going to win either. Either the Rams or the Saints, 9 times out of 10, because anything can happen in the postseason, either the Rams or the Saints are going to the Super Bowl if we don't go. That's just how I feel, and that's just a fact. Either the Rams or the Saints are going to represent the NFC East in the Super Bowl. The Saints still play the Cowboys. Everybody's going to see what they're made of against the #1 seed. You know what I mean? We had a first-place schedule this year with massive injuries. Nobody else had a first-place schedule in the NFC East. I mean, the Giants had a 4th-place schedule 2 years in a row, and still, at this point in the season, have 3 wins, just like they did last year. So, I mean, we could beat the Giants. We have to beat the Giants. This is another must-win game. In my opinion, the season starts this week for us if we're going to make any noise. But you lose this game to the Giants, it's safe to say that the season is lost for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, Eagles Nation, like I say, brace yourself for all the haters. Brace yourself for everything. But they can't make no memes saying we don't have a ring. You know what I'm saying? So just brace yourself for all the talk by teams who ain't going nowhere. Just don't even brace yourself. It's laughable. It's very laughable in my opinion. You're happy that we're not going anywhere, like you're going there though. It's laughable at this point. Just a bunch of court gestures, just a bunch of clowns happy that they also will see the same fate. That they also will see the same fate. I never understood that. Like, misery truly does love company. Now, if you were a good team, I would have nothing to say. I have nothing to say about the Rams. I have nothing to say about the Saints. If you're a good team, you're good. Point blank, period. But if you're a bad team, worried about another bad team, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in how long? It's a joke. It's laughable. It's laughable. Every year that passes, that number gets higher. Every year that passes, what is it, 25 years now? Next year it'll be 26 seasons that you haven't won a Super Bowl. When next year starts, if we don't win a Super Bowl this year, it'll be 2 seasons that we haven't won a Super Bowl. And we still have a franchise quarterback that isn't signed. You guys got to get familiar, man. Get familiar.